What would you say if your alignment looked completely different to what you think it should look like? We live in a world where it's wake up at 5 a.m., get a workout in, do this, get your tick list, all the things that we think are wellness and well-being. But what if your path to alignment looked different to that? I wanted to talk about a period of my life where I was actively spiritual. I lived a spiritual life under the umbrella of perfectionism. Yet now I am the most spiritual and the most in tune with my body than I have been. And I do way less than I was doing before. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Katerina and I am your shadow guide. I am the oracle of your sacred descent. I help you, I guide you through the caves and crevices of your own underworld so you can know yourself so deeply and you can step into your path of alignment, your soul-led path. If that sounds like that interests you and that's something that gives you a little fire in your belly, then everything is linked below for you. A few years ago, I started really delving into my spiritual path, and I was using it as a form to escape. I was thinking, if I meditate every morning, if I do this, if I do my affirmations, if I spend every evening scripting or doing mirror work or whatever it may be, I had a spiritual structure in the morning and a spiritual structure in the evening. But all of it was under the umbrella of perfectionism. If I missed a day, I would feel like, oh, I've fallen off track. Like I am not going to get where I want to be. It was also a form of escapism. I was trying so desperately to transform my life that I was actually making myself more stuck. The only frequency that I was actually portraying was desperation. I was desperate to change my life, and I thought the only way to do that was to continuously every day have a spiritual structure. Now I am so far away from that version of myself. I do so much less when it comes to my spiritual practices, but they are so deeply in tune and aligned with who I am and where I am right now. I no longer try to do this thing out of desperation. It's like some days I don't feel like doing my tarot. I don't feel like deciphering my dreams. I don't feel like I want to script or journal or shadow work or whatever it may be. I truly listen to my body in that. Sometimes there's a moment where I'm like, okay, you've had a long rest and you obviously needed that, but now let's try and get back into it slowly, instead of kind of going backwards and not doing anything at all. But before, it was set an alarm, wake up. I woke up at like 6:30 in the morning, and I would set an alarm and I would go straight into meditation. Wouldn't even give my body enough time to like realize it was awake. I would go straight into my meditation. My meditation lasted anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour, and I would do that. And honestly, a lot of the time I'd probably fall asleep without realizing it because I was still so tired, and I wouldn't give myself a kind of pause to realize it was awake now. I would do that. Then I would go into a full body stretch, and then I would answer myself some questions like journal questions, journal prompts in the morning. I normally asked myself the same 3 things. And then after all of that, I would go do my morning skincare, all that stuff, go downstairs, make myself breakfast, and then start my day. And I used to think that was like so great. I used to be like, oh, you're so aligned. You're so in your like spiritual era. Like you're really doing it. And after a while, I was so exhausted all the time. And I was just like, why am I so tired? I really can't be bothered to meditate right now. Like I genuinely can't. And I think after a while, I started to realize, is this aligned? Am I actually listening to my body in this? Because the woman I wanted to be was a complete embodiment of feminine energy. That's the woman I wanted to be. I wanted to embody the dark and the light. I wanted to be someone who, you know, truly listened to their intuition and acted on it. I wanted to be a woman that lived in a cyclical way. I wanted to be a woman that was living a really slow, intentional life. That was what, in my head, that's what I wanted. And I thought I needed structure in order to get there. I thought I needed complete, like every day is the same when it comes to my spiritual practices. I thought if I do the same every day, then 6 months' time, my life will be completely different and I'll be able to slow and fully embody the feminine energy that I wanted to embody. And what I realized is I was living on a masculine system still. I wasn't fully embodying the feminine energy that I wanted to be. I was living off the masculine part. We all need masculine and feminine within us in order to be able to, you know, create and act on that creation. We need those two. But I think for me is I was lacking the attunement. I was lacking the complete ability to fully listen to my body without forcing it to do something. And after a while, I started to wake up from that system and I naturally followed the path that I am in now, which is I fully listen to my body. Now, what does that look like for everyone? Well, everyone is different. So you've got to sit with yourself. Again, I really advocate sitting in silence, especially if you have Saturn ruling your chart, like you're a Capricorn rising. You need silence. You need silence, solitude weekly in order to be able to really get in tune with your body and listen to it. But silence will just help you really tune into what your body's feeling. You know, often I would always have noise. I would always have my headphones in, music in, frequencies in, subliminals in. And it was like constant in, that I just wasn't letting myself listen. I wasn't letting myself be. I wasn't letting myself connect with my body. It was all up here. So the way to step into alignment more and stop in the path of perfectionism is to every day have a moment to get in tune with your body. Pause, move your body, circle your hips, let yourself breathe. You don't need to do that thing at that time, exactly at that moment. That is a masculine energy. I tend to not have a daily structure, which for a Capricorn rising was incredibly difficult for me to do. Even now, sometimes I check myself and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, hold on, I've actually done a lot today. It's just not the way that I used to do it. I don't follow that structure anymore. I have a task for the day or for the week or for the month, and I kind of figure out when I'm going to do that. Normally it is monthly basis, so I have my tasks for the month, and then I figure out when is my energy best aligned, when is the moon in my favor to be able to create that or to refine that. And I then put that into a week's task. I don't put it into like, I don't have 4 tasks for a day. I'm like, okay, today is my editing day. It always is. And then the other day is my writing day. It always is. And then I have a few days in the month where are my filming days. And then the other times I have a more client-based one-on-one or creation. And I schedule all those in order to be able to fit my system. Before it was like, I must work from 9 to 5. I must get up at 6:30 a.m. In order to start my work at 9, I need exactly 2 hours for my whole routines, finish at 8:30, make my breakfast, start my day. In all of that spiritual structure, in all of that perfectionism of spiritual alignment, I actually wasn't checking in with myself. The meditation was to align with my higher self or to manifest. There was no checking in with myself. There was no moment where I was sitting there and thinking, what do I need today? What do I want? And now I have more pockets of that. Now I let myself breathe and move in the middle of the day. If I feel like I've been sitting for too long, I just literally like stretch my body, I move my hips, I just let myself be in that feminine, and then that helps me to be more in tune with my body. I create not for just my business, but I create for myself. I paint, I do puzzles, I am semi trying to learn how to crochet, but it is really difficult. I write poetry, like I just be in those moments, and it can be so simple in my creations. I'm a complete nerd, so I absolutely love Lego. And I'll just do some Lego. It's those moments where I feel like I'm just being, and I'm really listening to my body within that my spiritual practices look so different, yet I feel so aligned with my path. I feel so peaceful. I don't feel like I need to do something else. Even in the way that I move my body, before it was full on structure, everything was planned out. I was doing 6-month plans. I was eating within calories. I was eating enough protein. And I was following this system that nothing was shifting, nothing was changing. And I've spoken about this before with certain placements that you have in your natal chart, and how shadow work was completely integral for me to be able to not only shift that emotional, but also shift that physical weight. It is literally my path. I have no other way to be able to completely transform it is through shadow work. I believe that for everyone. But for me, it was like, it's my DNA. Like, it was something that I realized I can't skip this part. I have to go deep. And now I have followed a way slower system. I walk, I do Pilates, I do yoga flows, I do somatics, and I have that flow within that, but I don't feel like I'm chasing something. I don't feel like I'm chasing this goal. And those were huge things for me to realize. I'm coming out of my masculine a bit more, because the masculine is goal orientated. It has a physical, tangible product or outcome in order to track, whereas feminine is just being. Feminine is creating for no reason. Feminine is being within that energy and being completely grateful and present. And I realized recently, looking back and reflecting, is that I never actually felt that present. I never actually felt that joy in just creation. I was so stuck in my masculine, watching and tracking and seeing how far I've come without even having even a moment in a day or even a day in a week where it was feminine led. All of it was masculine. Even my Sunday resets were masculine. It was ticking off tasks, making sure that I've done those, even though the acts were more feminine. You know, I was doing a lot of self-care on those Sundays. They still were controlled by this masculine. I wasn't fully listening to my body on those days. I had a tick list. So I never gave myself a break. I never gave myself that ability to be able to listen to my body. And that's why I speak about alignment over perfection, because perfectionism can really sneak its way into spiritual practices. And you can feel like you're really aligned, but you're not aligned with your body and with your soul because you're not listening to it. Yes, meditation is really great and it's something that we should all implement. But sometimes meditation is, most of the time, it's just silence. It's just sitting with yourself in silence. You know, you can do the guided meditations, a lot of them are brilliant. But if you did that every single morning and that's the first thing that you hear, I feel like it stops yourself from truly listening to your body unless you listen to a guided meditation that helps you track your body, like somatics. But a lot of the time it is about manifesting something. It is about being in tune with something. But a lot of the time it's not in tune with yourself in that moment. It's trying to get you out of your head and into your body, yes. But it's coloured over with the perfectionism. You can't see it, but it's like the 30-day meditations, and I've done them myself. I even created some myself, and actually, yes, you might feel absolutely amazing after those 30 days, and if you want to give yourself a challenge, definitely do that. But I do think it is coming from a masculine place. It's not coming from a fully embodied place. It's coming from a, I want to be better. I'm not good as I am right now. So I need to set myself a daily challenge in order to be able to get to where I want to be. But all of that is like, has this air of masculine around it. And the feminine is being. The feminine is embodiment. The feminine is just creating for the only reason to create. It's not for a task. It's not for a project. It's not for the outcome. It's just to create, to be present and to embody in that moment. So I want you to really look at your daily structure and look at your spiritual practices and think to yourself, is this because I'm looking for an outcome? Is this because I feel like I'm not good without doing this? And I challenge you to just sit with yourself daily. No guided meditation, no sound, nothing, just yourself. Ask yourself, what do I need today? What do I want to do more of today? You can ask yourself in the morning, afternoon, and evening those questions, and your body reacts. Your body knows. Your body knows what it wants. So it sometimes might not make sense when it comes out, but it eventually will. And I feel like we need more of those break moments. And those break moments are stepping into more feminine energy. You know, again, moving your hips, dancing, stretching, screaming if you want to, let that energy out. You know, we are, everything about this world is conditioned to be masculine energy. Even the system that we work in, 9 to 5, we don't have those pockets of breaks. We don't have those moments where we can just have a big stretch and move our body, because we've been in our head for so long and we need to bring it back. So sit with yourself, ask yourself, just listen to your body for one day. Make it a Sunday, whatever day you want. Monday is great. Just fully listen to your body and see where that takes you, because it might actually be the most peaceful and aligned day that you have, because the rest of the time you're moving on task orientated energy. And often you'll be surprised at where your body takes you. Some days I think to myself, oh, okay, I'm going to have a chill day today. I just listen to what my body wants. Probably won't move my body because, I'm super tired. And then by the afternoon, I've done like a 25-minute Pilates session and I have gone for a walk. And your body just knows what it needs. Your body knows. So you listen to your body and your body will tell you, but you have to act on that. You have to not sit with it. You can't say to yourself in that moment when you feel like, I don't know, you want to pick up a book and read. Don't say to yourself, oh, I'll do that later. Your body wants that right now. Your body wants that energy right now. And it takes practice, like anything. It all takes practice and knowing yourself deeper, and to be able to understand what your body needs versus what your subconscious is telling you. And again, that takes practice, but you will get there. You will tap into your feminine more. It just takes time, especially when you have been built on a masculine system. Everything about me was very masculine energy. My need for control, my need to be able to have a tick list every day, and if I didn't feel like my day was good. The energy of me not being able to just sit and rest, sit and do nothing. I had to do something, otherwise I didn't feel good enough. And all this energy is coming from masculine, of task orientated energy. And masculine isn't bad, it's not a negative energy, it's just an energy that needs balance. You're fully on masculine energy, you do not let your feminine breathe. That's when the toxicity comes in, and vice versa. If you're fully in your feminine and you never let your masculine breathe, you are in that toxicity. It's about having that balance, having masculine energy, getting things done, but within your feminine energy. I get all my tasks done, but I get them within a feminine system, not a masculine system. And that is something where you have to release the need for perfectionism in that, because a lot of the time your routine won't look like what you think it will. A lot of the time you won't think your routine in alignment will look the way it actually is. You will think it looks like doing a certain thing every day, doing this plan, having this way of life. And then when you actually live that embodiment, especially when you're stepping into more of a feminine energy, it will be uncomfortable with the amount of softness there is. I have had moments where I felt really uncomfortable with the little amount I did in a day. Sometimes I would find that really difficult because I'm not used to it. I'm used to getting 15 things done in a day, And some days I wouldn't even get one thing done. Some days I would just be like having complete rest, and I had to sit with that uncomfortability because I'm so used to doing something and this was so foreign to me. But it was in my healing process and I desperately needed to do that. And I spoke in my other videos last week and the week before about, fully resting and being okay with that rest. That was really difficult for me to do. But every moment I change that narrative in my head, it changes my whole body and it makes me feel like I am stepping into alignment even more every time. Every time I change the narrative by my actions or lack of action is changing that narrative and helping me live more in alignment. So I just felt cool to talk about it because I feel like, especially in this day and age, we are so built on systems that are very masculine and task orientated that we don't even realize that actually we're not being, like, we're not letting ourselves just be and be in that creation or feminine energy. We are masking spiritual practices with structure, and it's like so against what it's about. Like, spiritual practices are most of the time to get you to be in alignment with yourself and to be able to listen to yourself. But we're actually not doing that because it's built on a system that's structure, and your body just might not want that for that day. Anyway, I hope that all makes sense, and I just felt really cool to speak about it. If you feel called to work with me, then all my links are below. And if you like my videos, then feel free to subscribe. Again, if you feel that little fire in your belly and you're like, yeah, this is part of my path. Until then, I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.